Okay, we've got the Traeger Timberline fired up. I've got about a 9-pound pork butt, and we're going to do an overnight cook. It's about 8:30 at night, so we're going to get this pork butt ready to go and get it on the Traeger and forget about it till morning, essentially. So let's get started. Okay, so here's our pork butt. I'm not doing any trimming. This really looks good as it is. So we're just going to make this an easy cook. Let the Traeger do the work. I am going to get some mustard on it. I often don't use a binder, but today I felt like it, and so we're going to. So I've just got some plain yellow mustard here. So we will get that on the outside. Doesn't take much. So there we go. We're going to go ahead and get the rub on it now. We're going to use this Bearded Butcher's Black. I've opened it. I don't remember what I used this on though. But it does taste good. I did a taste test. I'm going to keep this close to the meat because it's a little windy out here. Not too bad, but this seasoning will go everywhere. So get that on all sides. There we go. All right, now we're just going to flip this over, and I do have the fat cap side down because I want to do that last. We are going to put the fat cap up in the smoker. Just trying to keep hands clean, but oh well. We'll clean off. As a matter of fact, here we go. There we go. Perfect. Fat cap got a little shaved in places, but there's so much fat in here, I'm not worried about that. And we'll just get that binder on the outside. I've got this on a rack that's going to go in the cooker as well. I just find that to be easier. I did spray it with some avocado oil just to lube it up a little bit. Make sure I get the sides here. So we're going to have this probably for dinner tomorrow night, and I'm going to do a couple other things with it for some saving it for later type things. So I'll probably include all of that in this video. Okay. With pork butt, it's tough to over season them. So I'm really going to make sure I get good covering with this Bearded Butcher's. All right, now the last thing I'm going to do is get this Traeger probe in a good spot. So we're going to go the opposite side. There we go. That's going to be right center there, and I'll check it in other places. But let's get this on the cooker. Okay, so the smoker is almost up to temperature, about 20 degrees off. Dogs barking, of course. Story of my life. So we're going to get this on. So I'm going to put this on this kind of middle rack. I've got a drip pan below just to make for easy cleanup more than anything. Okay. So we're just going to put that right in the center essentially. And I may or may not wrap this. I actually might do something a little different in the morning. We'll see. But we're just going to get this probe plugged in. And I'm going to go ahead and set the probe for now, for just 170. Obviously, we'll take this deeper than that. But for now, I just want to set that alert up. 37 degrees in the meat right now, it's saying, which is probably about right. It might go down a degree or two, but here we go. Gonna start this overnight cook. Not gonna be anything to see until the morning, so we'll certainly bring you back then. Hey, good morning. So we've been on almost 11 hours overnight, so we're gonna go out and check out where we are. The Traeger app tells me we're running about 211 degrees. I turned it up to 210 in the middle of the night sometime. I don't even know when. Turned off the super smoke as well. So let's see how we look. I have a spray bottle with apple cider vinegar cut with water. All right, holding temp 209, 154 degrees internal. So let's take a look. Hoo, 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 hoo. Boy, that's pretty. Not exactly sure. Oh, okay. Let's press that. Okay, there we go. So we'll get a little closer now. Looks beautiful. I think I am going to wrap this. I'm going to let it go a little bit longer first. Not in any hurry for this today, having run all night. Not going to do anything with this until dinner time. Boy, that's pretty. All right, so we're going to cut this segment for now, but we'll bring you back probably when we get closer to wrapping, which I'm guessing is going to be 170, 175 internal temp. So we'll see in a little while. All right, so we have been on now, let's see, 13 hours, just over 13 hours, 13 hours and 15 minutes. Temperature holding well at 210-ish. Internal temperature is at 158, so we have not gone up much, maybe a few degrees in the last hour, so we're definitely in the stall. I'm gonna open this up, probably give it a little vinegar water spritz, and we'll just take a look. Looking great. The color's beautiful. I'll lift the camera up in a second. Okay. So I don't want to leave the lid open very long, but let's go ahead and show you that up close. Looks great, so we're just going to let this keep going. Probably 10 or 15 more degrees and we'll get her wrapped. So we'll bring you back and see in a little bit. So in just a few minutes we will have been on for 15 hours. That's a long time. This is taking longer than I thought. This is why you always start barbecue early. In my opinion, barbecue will save warm in a cooler forever. So I've got plenty of time till dinner tonight. We are at 165 internal. I have bumped the cooker up to 250, not because of wanting to finish faster, but because I put some prime rib burgers on for lunch, and I want them to go a little warmer. So the pork butt can take it. Let's take a quick look. Probably give her a spritz. Still looking great. Getting some great fat render. Wow, look at that. Whew. So we're going to give this a quick spritz. And get this lid closed up. Burgers are another video. Actually, I'm not doing a video on those, but we're going to do some barbecue dip burgers with some Monterey Jack cheese. Should be pretty good. So we'll bring you back. Okay, so this fat has really started to render nicely. The color is great as far as I'm concerned. The temperature is sitting at 167 internal. We have been on now for almost 15 and a half hours. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this, give it the old Texas crutch, and that should burn us out of the stall and get us up to our temperature, which will be between 200 and 210 probably. Of course, we'll probe for tenderness. but we're gonna go ahead and get that done right now. So I'm going to, in fact, I'll just move the camera like this. There we go. Oops. There, that'll work. And we're just going to move this pork butt. I'm going to take the probe thermometer out and I'll end up putting it back in through the foil. There we go. So get that down in our foil, and I'm going to move this tray here, and we're just going to get this wrapped up. Let's do it this way. I've got a double layer of foil here. Get this wrapped up tight. There we go. And I'm going to get this put right back on in the same spot. I can take the, in fact, I'm just going to move that pan over under the burgers that we're smoking for lunch. Get that probe back in, and there we go. So I'll just show you real quick. There we go. So our package is back on, and we're just going to let this go. I'll probably check it when it gets around 200, see where we are probing it, and I'll bring you back for that. So we'll see you in a little while. All right, we are just about there. We're at 200 internal, 199, gonna creep up any second. And so I'm gonna go ahead and probe this. I have a feeling we're gonna be good. So let's just give it a shot. So I'm not doing this for temperature, I am doing this for tenderness. And that probe just falls in. It is unbelievable. That's great. So I've got to grab some different gloves, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this in this cooler, wrap it in this towel, and throw the lid on it and take it inside. And I have held briskets and pork butts in something like this for hours and hours. So we only have a few hours till dinner, so it's certainly going to hold nice and hot until then. So we'll get that done, and we'll see you in a few hours, and we'll get this pulled apart, and I'll show you a little bit about what we're going to do with this tonight. So see you in a little while. All right, so it's been about 4 hours since we took this pork butt off of the smoker. It's been in this cooler ever since, haven't touched it. So we're gonna pull it out of here and pull it. Ooh. I'm gonna keep this foil intact. There's a lot of good juice in there. Let this drip just a little bit. Okay. So the thing I like to do with a bone-in pork butt is check that thermometer first. And that's what you want to see. That blade bone just pulls right out. May as well try this piece of meat. All right. So this layer of fat that's always on the top here, the fat cap, if you will, I'm going to get that out of the way. I forgot to grab something to put this in. So I'm hoping a paper plate or something magically appears near me. Hey, there's one. So I don't want to remove all of the fat, and I'll tell you why a little bit later. But just some of these thick pieces that didn't render all the way. I'm going to get them out of the way. Man, look at that. Going to leave as much as this bark that doesn't have a ton of the fat on it in place. Yeah, pork butt isn't, like brisket bark, especially when you wrap it, but it's still great flavor. It's where all your seasoning was, right? Man, and look at that steam coming off of this. And again, 4 hours after pulling it off the smoker. I can't even see through my glasses right now. Look how good that is. I'm going to try another bite of this, but we got something kind of different we're going to do with this tonight, and I'll show you here in a little bit. That is good. All right, I'm going to leave this recording, but I'll cut it out. I've got one thing I want to get that I forgot. So I'll be right back. So when I seasoned this up, I said my thought was that it's hard to over season a pork butt. It's just too much, too thick. So I always like to get a little more seasoning. You can use the same kind or a different kind, but I always add it after I pull it. Just adds that much more flavor. And we'll mix it around here. Now you want to be careful not to over season it, so before I add any more, I'll try it. Man, just look at that, just falling apart. Oops. Piece of bark. Oh man, that's so freaking good. Here we go. I've had these tubs for a little while and had never thought to pull pork in them, but they work great for that. And you'll run into a little fat that you may want to get rid of as you do this. Yeah, that's got to go. But some of that bark that doesn't have a ton of fat on it, you got to keep that. That is good stuff right there. Try another bite. Getting there. Okay. Oh, that's perfect. All right, so I'm going to get a little of this cleaned up here. Actually, you know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to... That's not going to work. All right, I saved that juice in the bottom of the foil on purpose. I'm gonna grab a little of that in a measuring cup. I almost tried to pick the whole foil up. I'd have made a giant mess. Here we go. Add a little bit of that just for the flavor and the moisture content. And there we go. People ask me sometimes what kind of meat they should smoke, and if they're new to doing stuff like this, I always tell them a pork butt. It's so difficult to screw this up. It really is. All right, there we go. So I'm going to get some of this cleaned up here, and then we will bring you back, and I'll show you a little something different. Boy, it's hard for me not to eat that. A little something different that we're going to do with this. So see you in a few minutes. All right, let's show you what we're going to do with this pork tonight. So I don't think I've had this in a video yet, but it's upcoming. I have a new favorite thing, and it's tortillas from Tortilla Familia. They're out of Mexico and they are outstanding. So I'm gonna grab one of these. They came with a warmer, so you throw it in the microwave and it keeps the tortillas warm for quite a while. Look how flexible and good those are. So we're gonna take a tortilla. We're gonna add a little bit of our pork. There we go. And I need another spoon. And I've got some seasoned potatoes. Gonna add a few of those. Thought about doing rice, but I never got to it. Potatoes will be good. And I have some house home fermented salsa. This is so good. I'm gonna do a video on this. You can't beat it. I absolutely love it. I've actually got a half gallon going right now, fermenting as we speak. So it'll be ready in 3 days, give or take. Gonna add a little of that. And something else I've touted in a recent video. I'm big on grating my own cheese. I hate pre-grated cheese usually. I mean, I use it, but it's just not nearly as good. Tillamook pre-grated cheese is actually the exception. I love it. It's really good. And my other new thing is crema salvadoreña. Somebody correct my pronunciation, but it's so good. It's like a thin sour cream. It reminds me of like Chipotle sour cream. Gonna add a little of that. And I told myself I wasn't gonna make this too big, and I may have. Oh, we just broke. Oh well, that's what we make forks for. So I tell you what, I'll try this on camera. I'm gonna grab a plate and I'll bring you right back. All right, hopefully I'm in camera. We're gonna give this a try. I know it's gonna be good. I got no doubt about that. Barely any pork, we'll change that now. That is so good. The pork is so moist and tender. You gotta dump that juice out of the foil into it, and you gotta add more seasoning after you pull it. To me, that is the key to pulled pork. It's impossible to screw it up. That fermented salsa, I have to do a video on that. Hey, thanks for joining me for a cook that essentially started 23 hours and 40 minutes ago. Do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And leave me a comment. That helps the algorithm too. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time at BuQeye BBQ.